The sporting world is currently rejoicing in the blaze of Tokyo Olympics, which kicked off last week and ends on 8th of August. A week into the Games, the challenge of Nepali athletes has come to a tame end as Saraswati Chaudhary too failed to get past the heat round. The story is same every Olympics as Nepal's prospect in the mega game, a celebration of sports, is just limited to participation. Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanama and these are the headlines of the hour. 27 COVID-19 patients succumbed to the virus as of latest update. Daily case tally crosses 2,400. The House urges the government to expedite vaccination campaign. Ministry of Finance demands Securities Board to furnish clarification on the insider trading scam rather than taking action against main culprits. Japan expands state of emergency in 3 prefectures as COVID infection numbers to record highs. And England's all-rounder Ben Stokes takes an indefinite break from all cricket, says will focus on his mental well-being and recovery from finger injury. 27 corona patients have succumbed to the virus in the latest update, taking the total death tally in the country to 9,834. 2,467 have tested positive as 9,784 samples were tested through the PCR method yesterday. Kathmandu Valley alone has reported over 800 cases, which includes 556 from Kathmandu district, 187 from Lalitpur and 76 from Bhaktapur. Based on the Health Ministry's latest report, the death rate stands at around 1.5%. Likewise, 1,816 individuals registered full recovery, taking the recovery tally to 652,261 and the recovery rate to 94.1%. Out of the total active cases, 27,820 are in home isolation, 686 in intensive care units, and 161 are being treated with ventilator support. Now, lawmakers have drawn the government's attention towards the rising number of COVID-19 cases in recent days, urging the government to expedite vaccination campaign in the country. Speaking during the zero and special hour of the House session yesterday, lawmakers urged the government to focus on vaccination programs, warning that the situation might spiral out of control in the absence of timely action. Lawmakers from the main opposition, CPN-UML, meanwhile, criticized the government for failing to utilize the vaccines procured by the previous government. Likewise, lawmakers also drew the government's attention towards pending payments of sugarcane farmers, citing that the government should continue to goad on the mill owners to clear their outstanding dues. Lawmakers also urged the government to move the bills related to Civil Service Act and Citizenship Acts and to arrange for suitable relief packages for flood and landslide victims. Meanwhile, CPN-UML lawmaker Bhim Rao spoke against the infamous MCC program, demanding the government to reveal all clauses related to the multi-million-dollar agreement. Speaking at the special session of the House of Representatives, lawmaker Rao viewed that numerous treaties and agreements had only brought disrepute to the nation. The CPN-UML leader demanded that all the clauses of the infamous agreement should be revealed at a time when offices have been opened in the name of MCC, among others.
भर्खरै यो प्रतिनिधि सभासँग सम्बन्धित र विभिन्न राजनीतिक दल सरकारसँग सम्बन्धित एउटा सम्झौताको चर्चा सुन्नमा आएको छ। फेरि त्यो हो अमेरिकी मिलेनियम च्यालेन्ज कर्पोरेसनसँगको नेपाल सरकारले गरेको सम्झौता। म यहाँबाट सम्माननीय सभामुख महोदय, यो सम्मानित सदन र सम्पूर्ण देशभक्त नेपालीहरूलाई भन्न चाहन्छु, त्यो सम्झौता जुन प्रतिनिधि सभामा प्रस्तुत भएको छ त्यो सँगसँगै अरू थुप्रै गोप्य सम्झौताहरू भएका छन्। जब प्रतिनिधि सभामा त्यो सम्झौता अनुमोदन भएको छैन भने त्यसको कार्यान्वयन सम्झौता कसरी हुन्छ?
Lawmaker Rao was primarily of the opinion that any agreement that goes against the interest of the nation is equivalent to what he said as treachery. The government bodies have not initiated investigation against Bhim Raj Tungana, the chairman of Securities Board, which is the monitoring body of share market, despite being found guilty of misusing his position by bagging the shares of a company that was preparing for issuance through book building. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Finance has demanded the Securities Board to furnish clarification on the issue instead of taking action against Tungana.
It has been revealed that 11,992 shares of Sarvottam Cement that was preparing to issue its shares through book building was bagged by Chairman Dhungana, while 10,000 shares were booked by CEO of Nepal Stock Exchange, Chandra Singh Saud, through insider trading. Dhungana retained the shares in the name of his daughter Rebecca Dhungana, who is currently stationed in the US, while Saud booked the shares in the name of his wife. The Ministry of Finance on Wednesday demanded clarification as the incident drew massive public outcry. The clarification, however, was demanded from Securities Board and NEPSE rather than the individuals involved in the scam. As per the Securities Act, retaining shares prior to its issuance is insider trading and is punishable. The board can assign an investigator given a complaint is filed pertaining to insider trading. The Act, however, does not have ruling if the head of the board is involved in such irregularities. Experts opine that the investigation should be carried out through the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority Act. The individuals involved in insider trading could be fined, jailed up to 1 year, or both, as per the Securities Act. Meanwhile, the authorities have not initiated investigation against Dhungana and Saud, who are involved in the scam equivalent to corruption, while their position has remained intact. The head of the monitoring body's strategy to issue the shares at higher rates after bagging them through insider trading is considered a massive foul play. The delay in investigation on such irregularities is likely to raise doubts on the share market monitoring body.
Community school teachers have been holding a relay hunger strike in protest as schools around the country have remained shut amid the coronavirus pandemic. In this context, today we've asked participants of the hunger strike why have they overlooked the impending threat of coronavirus. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
कर्मचारी र शिक्षकमा ठुलो खाडल एउटा सौटिनी आमाको छोराछोरी जस्तो व्यवहार भइरहेको छ। त्यो उनीहरूले यो हाम्रो यो आन्दोलन रिले नछन् हाम्रो रहर हैन बाध्यता हो।
हामी दूरी कायम गरेर आन्दोलनमा जारी रहेका छौं।
अन्तर्राष्ट्रमा शिक्षकहरूलाई एकदम सम्मान गरेको छ। कर्मचारीले अन्त बढी मान सम्मान दिन्छ। तर हाम्रो नेपालमा त्यस्तो छैन। तल्लो दर्जाका भनेर अपमानित गरिन्छ। जसले गर्दा शिक्षकको मनोबल गिरेको छ।
आफ्नो पेशागत सुरक्षाका लागि हामी डटेर लडेर विभिन्न चरणहरुमा चाहिँ हामी आन्दोलन गरिरहेका छौं र गरिरहने छौं जबसम्म हाम्रो मागहरु सरकारले पूरा गर्दैन।
Time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. The question is, what's your take on a massive chunk of development budget being spent on different headings towards the end of the fiscal year? Your options are A, ploy to show expenses, B, crisis management, and C, power games. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for the sports update. The football governing body ENFA has said that it would probe into the recent dispute that surfaced between its Vice President Pankaj Nemwang and Chief Coach Abdullah Al-Mutairi. The Central Working Committee of the football governing body decided to approach Ministry of Youth and Sports to carry out a high-level investigation. Chief Coach Al-Mutairi, through social media, had cited of resigning from his post, saying that he had disputes against Vice President Nemwang. Meanwhile, Vice President Nemwang has claimed that he has never interfered with the works of the chief coach. The meeting has also proposed a budget of 100 million for hosting SAF Championship football. Time now for our special segment, Media Watch.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who was in New Delhi for a two-day visit this week, held a telephone conversation with Prime Minister Sherbahadur Deuba on Tuesday. The talk dwelt on a wide range of issues and largely on the ongoing pandemic and effects of climate change. Secretary of State Blinken also tweeted that the two leaders discussed on the age-old U.S.-Nepal partnership. According to the US Embassy in Kathmandu, the US government has contributed over $55 million worth of technical assistance and equipment to Nepal to assist the Himalayan nation in its fight against the pandemic. The Election Commission decided on Monday to hand the ownership of Janata Samajwadi Party to the Upendra Yadav faction. The Commission took the decision after verifying the signatures of 51 Central Executive Committee members. The Election Commission had called the committee members of the party Monday itself for what it said was a head count. With the decision, the Yadav faction received the party name and election symbol as 34 out of 51 members of the Central Executive Committee stood with them during the head count conducted by the Election Commission. Only 16 members backed the Mahanta Thakur faction. Raj Kishore Yadav and Manish Suman, who were previously in the Thakur faction, sided with the Yadav faction, ensuring a majority for the faction. 4 former lawmakers who had defected from CPN Maoist Center to join CPN UML filed a writ petition at the Supreme Court on Wednesday demanding for the reinstatement of their membership at the House of Representatives. Former CPN Maoist Center leaders Top Bahadur Rai Majhi, Lekhraj Bhatta, Prabhu Shah and Gauri Shankar Chaudhary filed a writ petition at the Apex Court, saying that they were deprived of giving clarification before being relieved from the post. The former lawmakers sought for an order from the court to allow them to work in the capacity of a lawmaker. All the 4 lawmakers decided to remain in CPN UML after the Supreme Court revived CPN UML and CPN Maoist Center, annulling the Nepal Communist Party on 7th of March. They were later relieved from the post of lawmaker after CPN Maoist Center took action against them for defecting the party.
That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.